Tell me a little bit about how your sales from the podcast works. How much do you like pitch your offers on the podcast versus like do you just kind of have like the same intro outro every time that says like if you want to work with us and apply, or what's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't advertise for my marketing services on my podcast at all. So actually, the way that I get I have a few different business models. The first is, like you said, I have an agency and I do marketing for CEOs, celebrities, best-selling authors. Those happen to be the same people who come on my podcast. So I've done no selling for my agency from the start. In fact, my first client begged me to do her marketing. That was Heather Monahan, who's also my mentor now. And essentially, she asked me, she came on, I'll give you an example of like how I got my first client. Heather Monahan came on my podcast, Young and Profiting. Then we promoted the show. She had a great experience. She messages me on LinkedIn and she's like, Hala, who does your marketing? And I said, oh, I do my marketing. What are you talking about? You do your marketing. You did this? Like we're commenting on like my videos on my LinkedIn. You did this? Yeah. Okay, I'd love to, like, we have to chat. Show me what you're doing. So I have a call with her. This is how all great mentor-mentee relationships start, right? Sharing with each other. And so I was like, okay, here's my Slack channel. Here's all our G Drive folders. I took her into Canva. I showed her Headliner. I showed her our processes. And she's like, Hala, what you have is like, this is the same presentation that like Gary Vee's team gave me when I hopped on a call for VaynerMedia. Like, you have a business and I want to be your first client. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. They do it for me. Like, we've got our plate full. Like, I don't know. And she's like, just start with my videos. One thing led to another. Now, Heather Monahan's like a huge influencer on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'm running all of her social, all of her podcasts. And that was my foot in the door, because then I had not only my pages as social proof, but all of Heather Monahan's. And then Heather Monahan grew from like 80,000 followers on LinkedIn to like 150,000, which on LinkedIn, that's like having millions of followers. There's no bots. It's all real people. It's not like Instagram that can be like faked. Nothing can be faked on LinkedIn. So it's a big deal when you get big followers like that. So anyhow, it's really a lead gen tool for my guests. So a lot of the guests that come on my show are the perfect type of clients for us, and it happens really organically. It's the social proof. It's them seeing that I have a #1 podcast. They ask me what my numbers are like. They're impressed by it. They see our micro content. They're impressed by it. They're impressed by the logistics of the show and how everything was set up. And they just essentially usually ask me, about my services, because they put 2 and 2 together and they start to realize that I have a marketing agency. So I never really directly pitch. In fact, I've had really bad luck directly pitching. One time I tried to pitch Jay Samit and he was very offended. And like it was after the podcast interview, and he's like an author and he has very little social media presence. And I was like, well, I've been running this agency for years successfully. I'm just going to pitch him. So after the interview, I was like, let me know if you need any help with LinkedIn. I noticed you didn't, you're not doing that well. And he was like, I invested in LinkedIn. Like I can do and was really offended by me. And I was like, okay, maybe I should not pitch people after the podcast going forward. So really it's organic. It's all social proof. It's all referral based. I'm not outwardly advertising, and my listeners, my podcast audience is not the same people I'm targeting. So it's the people I'm interviewing who end up being my agency clients. So that's the difference there. And a lot of people don't realize that you can design a podcast around the type of people you actually want to have as your clients, and they can be your guests. Does that make sense?
I've heard of the strategy from a guy named Jamie Atkinson before, that it was his webinar that he was talking about that same kind of thing. And he had like this whole business model of like, here's how you, like, if you want to sell chiropractors on running their Facebook ads, then start a podcast where you interview chiropractors. And even if you have like 3 views, it doesn't matter. They never ask. You just have them on to like bring, start a relationship.
Exactly. It's a great way to start a relationship. And then it's just referrals from there. And then my clients refer other clients, and it just kind of spread like wildfire like that.